All right. Hi. So, welcome back, you guys. All right. So, first off, this is a different vibe here on this channel, just a little bit. This is where I'm doing collective readings where you guys get to pick the topic. If I don't have suggestions, that I'll just randomly go through a deck of cards that I created to give me like a generalized topic. However, you guys have been awesome. You have been giving me topics that you would like to hear a collective reading about. And so, today's collective reading is going to be about new love, and that was by request of Life Like the Wind. So, hi, Melly. Great to see you, darling. So, if you guys, before I get going into this one, let me also mention that I was doing a giveaway of the Healing Healer deck, which is my own creation. It is a deck literally devoted to my dog Aries. So it's an oracle deck. And the winner of that is D. Rogers. So D, if you would just reach out to me, you'll find my right there in the description box. There is my email. Just send me an email. Let me know where in the world you'd like me to mail your oracle deck to, okay? Now, as far as anybody else who wants to give me the suggestion for tomorrow's video, just go ahead and drop that in the comment section once I'm no longer being live. If you put it in the chat, I won't see it again. But any topic that you want, I mean, obviously not legal or medical advice, things like that, and try to keep them more like general topics. Simply because, it's not going to be like, oh, is my partner cheating? It's not that vibe. It's more like for the collective, what are the bigger topics, the storylines that maybe we don't do on my other channel? And I just thought it'd be nice for everybody to get a chance to select what they'd most like to hear about. So for this story, it is going to be new love. That was a suggestion. So let's go ahead and begin with this story, shall we? And this is for December the 2nd. I think that for new love, we should start out with one of the crystal decks. Oops, sorry, we've got one card mixed in that is not from that deck at all. Ooh, boy, okay, well, it's a little messy. So you notice we had one thing that didn't belong, and we're going to keep note of that because that could play a role in the overall scheme of things. And then we got cards that kind of popped out in a crazy way. So it could be a little bit chaotic. New love could be chaotic, and we could have one thing that we think is important only to discover is short-lived. It doesn't really have, maybe we shouldn't even call it new love. Maybe it's just a brief little something, a flash in the pan, and then nothing comes of it. However, we have the Knight of Coins sideways, and we have the Page of Coins sideways. We have the Ace of Wands in the reverse. It's kind of an interesting story because so far, all we have in the context of new love is something that I know is that we've got someone who's not really maybe falling for someone right away. Instead, it appears that it's overlooked. I think maybe that's common when something is new, to overlook it, to not understand it, to have our eyes scan by and say, oh, I don't think that's of much interest. And then things have to grow slowly. And in particular, this storyline is one of, if something has to grow slowly, emphasis on slowly, since we've got pentacles and we got them sideways, so it's not even a confident upright nor reverse, right? It's just sideways. So if somebody is moving along at a particular pace and they're not sure about things, it could also be because it's kind of a back and forth. It's like, I don't know that I'd be interested in that. Well, if we haven't given something enough time to let maybe the unfamiliar, the unknown grow on us, maybe that's why it would be difficult for this character, right? The concept of, new love. The word new literally means this is fresh. I don't have a reference point for this. This could be someone that a character is unfamiliar with, like a type of personality they've never encountered before, the type of situation they've never dealt with before, a context that is just not a format that they're familiar with, the way a person behaves, or the Hermit. Could be a Virgo, could also be someone who comes across as a little slower moving, maybe a little slower to respond, maybe a little slower to take action, maybe a little slower in general, just a little bit more reserved. Oftentimes, a hermit's journey can be someone who sits back and thinks about things. If there is a new love, and either this denotes the new individual, it could get off to a slow start. simply because they may not be putting out pizzazzy vibes. Now, this could also represent our lead character who is not certain. Am I really ready for something like this? Am I really ready for something new? Am I really ready for, a bond or creating a deep bond with someone? I'm not entirely certain um, how this, how I feel about this. So I need to internalize it for a little bit. That could also slow this down. The sun in the reverse, Leo energy, it's not fully clear. And instead of rushing forward, this is nice. I like the fact that this is slow energy. It doesn't feel exactly confusing. It feels more like step by step process. Let me see what I think about this new thing. I mean, I guess when I first bought an air fryer, I hadn't used one before. And I was like all intimidated. I mean, it's just an air fryer, right? But I wasn't familiar. So it took me a little while and I was all tentative and, like, oh, but what if I ruin everything I put in there? And, how do I know how long to cook it and what, and it just takes me a little bit of time. Then I kind of experimented because I wasn't used to using an air fryer. I was used to my oven, and I felt like different foods baked at different, styles. Obviously, way faster, and then an oven. And so, it. Let me just put it in that way, because even though it's silly to be tentative about something as simple as that, and certainly when we're talking about new love, I think that's much more meaningful than an air fryer, right? But that still the tentative, the thoughtfulness. I took time and I read that book, the booklet that comes with the air fryer. Maybe that's what our character wants to do. They want to take time and they want to read the book of whoever this person is. They'd like to go ahead and look at things from a perspective of, huh, let me see if I can figure this out. And does this please me? Well, it's a little too soon to tell, just like me and my air fryer. Did I really enjoy the difference in the way things had a crispy outside and then, still kind of a moist inside? Did I overcook certain things? Do I like it? And what foods do I and do I not like cooked in the air fryer now? Same thing. Learning a new person, learning a new tempo, learning the details about them. I want to read the whole book of them. And then I want to acquaint myself with these new and different aspects, new flavors of this new person before I make a judgment call. Because sometimes what we think, oh, I'm not sure I like the flavor of that, maybe it just needs to grow on us so that it becomes familiarized. And then it's like, oh, how could I have ever thought that this wasn't fabulous? I just needed to acclimate my taste buds or my mouth to, whatever this food item is. Only in this case, we're applying it to a romantic situation. I think the unfamiliar is adapting to the unfamiliar. I think that's a parallel that can be drawn for anything in life, whether it's people, relationships, romances, or new experiences. We have the devil. Devil is Capricorn energy. There is a concern here about. It's almost like our lead character in New Love. They're looking for the red flags. They might even be saying, I don't want to get attached. I don't want to miss the red flags. I feel like we kind of have, I don't want to say a hesitant person. I'm going to say maybe a wise person. And especially when they're meeting something new, to recognize the pitfalls. Again, let's go back to the idea instead of talking about a romance or a person. If a character was looking at a new, like that, an appliance or something, sometimes we don't have a basis for what is like a good quality appliance versus a poorer quality appliance, or because we don't have a reference point for it. It's our first thing that we've ever purchased in this category, so we don't know even what to look for. um, in a new romance, especially because this feels like a very different kind of a person for our character to be interacting with. They're looking for red flags. And for example, like someone who's actually a deep and profound thinker may not be swift to open their mouth and say what's on their mind. When we first meet someone, we could go, oh, they're not very talkative. I don't know. Maybe they're secretive. I don't know. Maybe they lie by omission. Maybe they don't like to answer questions. When in fact, maybe they're not like that at all. Maybe they're thinking and they're very present in the conversation and they're trying to formulate, and maybe they're a little slower to formulate their ideas. I'm a little slower to formulate my ideas tonight just because it's been a very, very busy, day and a half for me. And so that sometimes like it mentally fatigues me a little bit, and I'm not as quick with my vocabulary, because my brain is just a little bit tired. That's maybe another thing to consider when we meet somebody new. Is this What is their reason for perhaps taking things at a different pace? Our character is looking for the red flags. That's why they don't want to get too excited over a new love, especially someone who they've never met and someone who is not what they would have expected. This is new love in every way. I mean, I don't see the only past energy that comes forward is that our lead character seems to have acquired knowledge from their past experiences, and they're applying it here, saying, let me not be too quick to assume that this is going to be great. Let me not be too quick to say, oh, this person could make me happy. Let me first look for what are the warning signs. Now, it does seem like our character is saying, I've been bitten, and so now I'm shy about this. Once bitten, twice shy. That's how they're approaching love. Again, it's not to, I don't think that they're necessarily trying to be on the defensive. I just think that this is someone who has gained wisdom throughout past relationships and hurtful experiences that they've had. And now they're saying, how do I avoid that this time? By doing it differently this time. Why don't I look for the red flags and then maybe ask questions about those red flags so that I figure out whether or not it's really a red flag? Then we got a Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot. What's really nice? The tempo and the pace of this, the going slower, the being open to discussing, likes, dislikes, worries, fears. And our lead character could actually discuss worries and fears with this new person. Like, hey, I'm a little bit concerned. I noticed this or that. And in past relationships, if someone didn't necessarily answer a question, it turned out that they were dodging that. I'm not saying you are, but I'm just wondering, was there any reason that, you didn't answer something I asked you? It's like they may be better about like not drilling and grinding away at somebody to get answers, but really expressing and wanting to get to know this person and opening up a platform for dialogue. That may be a very big change, because Wheel of Fortune says for a character to do things differently because it's a new era, it's a changed energy. Is love still a labyrinth? Yes. Meeting any person is a labyrinth. We don't know what's going on in their mind. We don't know how to interpret what people have to say or what they're thinking. You never know what somebody is, what their motive is, or I mean, obviously we try to listen to what people say and the manner in which they say it to determine if it's hostile or truthful or kind or, but at the end of the day, getting to know ourselves or another person is still a gigantic labyrinth. It's a maze. But this is a maze worth going into, is what it says, because if both people are actually on the same page, yes, you're new, yes, you're different. This is a more thoughtful connection. This is one where I'm feeling like there's going to be more opportunity, especially with the Wheel of Fortune upright, to actually talk about things. With the Chariot, this is moving forward in balanced energy. I'll swim right beside you, you swim right beside me, and we'll see, if we're both having a good time and we're both opening up equally to each other and this is an enjoyable experience. Both of these cards say this new love would be an enjoyable experience. A meaningful one, a different one, not one that a character thought they were going to fall for instantly, not someone who begins with passion, but also not someone who fills them with angst and stress, but rather an opportunity to address something slowly and build trust with someone. That's the change in this new love. That's the difference here. And then the moving forward. See, this has a slow start. This new love has a slow start. And maybe that's all for the best. But a slow start leading to building understanding and trust, and then leading to balance, and then like actually having a good time, actually starting to laugh together, enjoy energy together, recognizing, oh, wow, this person may have a different tempo than anyone else I've ever met. But as I'm getting in their groove and I'm starting to learn their humor and I'm starting to learn the way they are, this is starting to feel pretty good. Not pretty good, this is really good. We got 2 major arcana there. That looks really sweet. Is there anything else about this new character? 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands is all about how somebody gets beyond struggles. And obviously we have sharks out there in the water, right? And the sharks are this, we see it from like a diver's perspective, and they're in this cave and they're looking out and they're seeing the worries and they're seeing the dangers. So I would argue that this new love operates pretty much the same way that our lead character is. What do they see first? I don't want to swim in shark infested waters. They may not have really been wanting to get into the dating scene. They may not have been looking necessarily for love, or let's put it this way. This is someone who's not looking for a heartbreak. They're not looking for drama. They're not looking for the difficult energy. This is like someone who I think would rather have. 7 is a divine number, so it is change, but we can see the struggles. And it's because it's a scuba diver, we're already in deep. This is emotions. This character might be a very emotional, like emotionally adept person. I mean, the Chariot is Cancerian energy after all. And they're like, I've been wounded before. I've been bitten by those sharks before. I don't want to get, falling too deep head over heels for anybody without knowing, are they just going to turn around and bite me? I kind of feel like these 2 characters that we're describing in this have been down the same road, and they've learned the hard way. Like, God, sometimes people just come in and they bite you for no reason, and it's true. And it's true not even just in love. Sometimes people are just mean. It doesn't really make any sense. They're just out there mean, And what do? Well, you just approach with like a little bit more caution. And then you just say, well, I'll give it a try, and we'll just try to get through the obstacles. So I'm not going to say this person is a pessimist. They're not, but they are aware of the dangers. They are aware, especially of the dangers in love. We have Empress sideways for them. We have the Ace of Swords in the reverse. And we have the Spirit of Swords in the reverse. If anything, I would almost argue that, I said it looks like this character might be an emotional person. And if, look, everyone's had a history, right? Everybody's, especially people that are sensitive, any kind of an empath out there. Meanness is particularly hard to cope with, right? You got to learn coping skills, certainly, but nastiness stays with you, and I feel as if with an Empress sideways and that Queen of Swords in the reverse can be downright nasty and aggressive. This says if they dealt with somebody nasty and aggressive, that's not out of their head. The person may be, but it's not out of their head, but it might have impacted their ability to think, will I find like an Empress? Will there be, maybe once upon a time they believed in all kinds of happiness, and they cling to those happy memories. Like, I still believe that a really happy union with an Emperor-Empress relationship is possible. But what I've experienced is an angry Queen of Swords who said nasty stuff to me. That seems to be like a memory that they've not forgotten. And it doesn't mean that they're projecting it onto anybody any more than our lead character has been shown to be projecting their, red flags onto anyone. They just simply want to know who's for real and who's not. Maybe that's why this is a story of, I always look for the big picture in my storytelling. And here's what I would say. Do we really think that there's anyone out there who hasn't experienced some of the same experiences that we have, right? No matter what character we're talking about, our lead character, our protagonist, our antagonist, it doesn't matter. As humans, we share similar experiences. So any 2 single individuals who meet each other have likely had heartbreaks, have likely been made a fool of by someone, have likely been, mistreated by someone at some point. And maybe sometimes they've played the reverse role and they've been the villain. But the bottom line is, this is so nice to be able to see when we look at new love. The thing to contemplate is whatever energy our lead character is in, whatever their fears are, whatever their hurts have been, whatever their, worries might be, so too might that other individual hold the exact same fears and past wounds. And for two characters to be able to meet and actually be, I don't think that they're initially thinking that about the other one. In fact, they're a little bit on guard about one another. But we, as an audience, get to watch them and see how it's like, oh, wow, they're kind of in the same boat. They don't know it, but they're giving each other the time to not like be hyper reactive, not instantly be like, you're just like my ex, you're doing this. I don't believe you. I don't trust you. They're not projecting that. They're simply using old wounds and lessons that they learned from old wounds and applying it to these situations, not by being hypercritical or super easily triggered, but rather by meeting somebody and just saying, well, I'm a little nervous. I got some bad memories, and you're not someone I have any familiar turf with, but I'm open to maybe seeing who you are and maybe getting to know you. I think this is two very sensitive individuals that are also mature enough not to just be walking raw nerves and project everything onto somebody else. We have a Three of Pentacles for this story. We have the Embodiment of Swords, Oneness in the reverse, and the Devil upright. We do have the Devil twice in this, which says there is still fear. Even as we see these two starting to build a bond, it looks like a bond first of friendship before romance. I know, the suggestion was let's do a story about new love. Let's use that as the topic starter. However, that's the prompt, right? Is new love. If I were a writer, that would be the prompt right now. And we've told the story about new love, but what we ended up with was a story that really begins in friendship, because that's where these two have to start. Friendship and then truth. And the truth that leads to like open communication and really mature open communication. These two are learning why they actually can really be friends. But when it comes to the idea of, do we want to blend and become one relationship amalgam where it's like I, lose myself in this and you lose yourself in me, there's a lot of fear that they both still have to that. These two may not want to get into like, let's live together, let's buy a house. That may not be a topic either one of them wants to take on anytime soon. But this looks pretty darn good over here. You can trust that I'm going to be there for you. What is that song? I'm going to stand by you. I walk through fire with you. No, you're not alone because I'm going to stand by you. I can't think who sings that, but that's what this looks like. Like that's maybe what these two needed first before they start talking about love, before they start talking about, like forever, before they start talking about, I feel like we're part of the same soul. No, these two just first want to build trust and genuine friendship and genuinely like, wow, I feel like you want to, get to know me and I want to get to know the real you. And we're going to build something like honesty and truth. It's a great starting point is what I would say. I'm going to leave this one here. I think that's, it's definitely a broader perspective on new love, but it just looks like the only way for these characters to actually get a chance at new love is to first begin at the very beginning, not set themselves up for big expectations that then could lead to big crashes. I don't know. I like how realistic this one was. I thought that was I took the sting and the fear out of something, even though the devil was still present in this storytelling. The fear was there, but it didn't prohibit them actually treating each other well and moving forward. And I think that was the big message for this one for me. You guys, thanks so much for being here. Lots of love to you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. Calliope Thomas, thank you so much, honey. Hey, Donna. Hi, RT. Thank you, RT. I've actually had this channel for a really long time. I just haven't done much with it. I always kind of reserved it for my Aries, but I've had it since I got him, which was 2.5 years ago. But I finally thought, you know what, I want to do just a little bit more with it and have it as my overflow channel as well for a few other styles. So you guys, thanks so much for being here. Good to see you. Bye, everybody.